Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the Lesson in 5. Lesson in 5 is a weekly program where we summarize the Sabbath School lesson into 5 main points. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our future videos. The Sabbath School lesson for this week is playing God. Very often in human existence, pride is a sin that creeps up. Pride is that kind of self-exaltation that often gives us a very dim view of reality. We fail to see who we really are, and pride gives us a big head, even bigger than it really ought to be. This week, we're going to look at the powerful nation of Babylon, the pride that it had and that ultimately led to its downfall. Doom on the nations. Isaiah chapter 13 going forward starts to describe a little bit of what would happen to many of the oppressive nations that were surrounding Israel, and particularly Judah. Already the destruction of Assyria had been foretold, so now the Bible zooms in on the next superpower, which was Babylon. The late great city of Babylon. Imagine you were living in Babylon at the height of its power. As you were looking at all the strength that was in this city, how ridiculous would it seem that this city would one day be destroyed? These prophecies would seem like complete hogwash, yet they were fulfilled in spite of how unlikely it seemed when these prophecies were given. This should give us confidence to trust in the prophecies and the promises of God, even when there is no apparent evidence in the world around us. We need to learn to trust in the word of God. The fall of the mountain king. When you read Isaiah 14, first you may be tempted to believe that this chapter is speaking about Babylon. But if you read a little bit closer, you'll quickly discover that it's not just speaking about this great world empire, but rather this chapter is speaking about the enemy of God's people, who is Lucifer, the devil, that old serpent. And the Bible gives us an insight into how he fell, how he sought to be exalted, and how ultimately he was brought low. And this gives a chilling warning to all who dare to harbor the sin of pride. Heaven's gate. When you hear what Babylon means in the Babylonian language, it actually means or speaks about the gate of the gods. And it's no surprise when you go through ancient Babylon, at least through the ruins, you'll see a lot of ziggurats, a lot of towers which are trying to make their way up to God. The Babylonians believed that they were connecting from this earth, going up to the heavens to where God is. This is a striking contrast to the dream that Jacob had, which was connecting from heaven down to earth. This tells us a powerful lesson. We cannot connect to God using man-made formulas and solutions. Our only hope of connecting to God is by Jesus coming down from heaven to this earth. Any form of self-righteousness will fail. Any form of self-serving religion will crumble. All our efforts to connect to God can only be successful through Jesus Christ. The final triumph of Zion. As we read Isaiah 24 going on to 27, we discover beautiful promises of an earth made new. These promises are echoed in the book of Revelation. We've got a hope that no matter how terrible things are going in this world, there is a hope beyond what we see. There is hope beyond the distress. And that hope is God will make all things new. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Lesson in 5. If you've enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next week, God bless you all.